What the hell? Mm. I don't know. All of a sudden, the app just shut off on me. Like, yep, it just shut down. I have no idea what happened. I don't know. Sometimes apps just all of a sudden, shut down. Yeah, that's what happened. I know. I was like, dude, that sucked. I was like, wait, what happened? And I couldn't get back into it. I literally had to start all over. It's not like TikTok where it can be like, you want to resume? I can only hope that live still exists. Yeah. And I'm going to have to go check it here in a second. Uh, no, the like YouTube just shut down on me. It just kicked me completely off the app. Yep. YouTube just shut down. That sucked. With Camel. What? What's with Camel, Miranda? Me too, Camaro. Me too. It wasn't even the Wi-Fi this time. It literally just it was the app, which sucks because I made sure that all of my apps on my phone were updated earlier this afternoon when the Wi-Fi was okay. Okay. Sorry. Camaro. What? What is Camaro saying? Oh, Miranda is with Camaro? Is that what you're trying to say? Because she said she blames shitty exes. I don't know. There's only two people in here. There was eight. There was eight when it kicked me off. There was eight people in this room when it kicked me off. There's two right now. I am so upset. I know. I know, Lemur. And I'm saying it out loud. Yay! I know. YouTube just I have to make sure, but it's still there. And I have to remember where we were at. Right there. That is where I'm going to start at. Okay. I hope not. Oh, okay. Let me make sure. Let me send that real quick. Okay. And then let me make sure that this still exists. My videos. It does not. Wait, that says 6 minutes ago. It does. Hold on. It does still exist. Does it? I don't know. That one's Family Affair. That's the one that's scheduled for the 13th. This one says 2 hours ago. That one said, okay, so that one's mine right now. Okay, that one's the one I'm on right now. So this one here, okay, it does. And it's here. Okay, good. Woo! Wait, shush. Shush. That's me live right now. So this is the one. That's me live right now. And this is the one that exists. Okay, perfect. Woo-hoo. Okay, it does exist. Now, let me see. Can I set this? Um, Let me schedule it real quick. Friday. Let's see. The other one's scheduled for. We'll do that one. No, not AM. PM. Okay. Okay. And then the next one I'll set for like 12:30. Okay. 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 Here we go. Let me finish this chapter real quick. All right. Miranda, I'm on page 129 and I'm going to start reading one, two, three, third paragraph down. Okay. Mackenzie, we are here to help you adjust to your new life. If you have any questions or concerns, please ask any of us. If you need a hug or just want some loving attention, I'm here for you. I am what they call the room mother, Prudence told me. Even though Prudence was 15, she wore her brown hair in pigtails. The tips of her hair were more of a golden blonde compared to the chestnut color of the rest of her hair. She had very athletic body type. I'm going to let you girls know. I'm going to let you girls get to know each other. Make sure you tell Mackenzie what the schedule is like around here so she knows what is expected from her. Also, Prudence, show her around the facility so she doesn't get lost on her first day, and make sure you run her through the basic orientation, Gertrude said before leaving the room. Okay, girls, give her some space, Prudence said, shooting the others over to her bed. Shooing the other girls over to her bed. The six other girls gathered on Prudence' double bed as she sat down on Rachel's bed. She was sitting in front of me with her hands on her knees. Do you have any questions for me before we start the tour? Prudence asked. Do they hit us here? I asked after a few seconds of silence. Oh, no, sweetie. You will never have to worry about that. Mrs. Riley is only visible in the hallway when new kids come in, or if someone is here to look at the kids for adoption. As for Miss Gertie, she's like our therapist. If we're having trouble expressing our emotions, she will try to find out what's going on. I will tell you though, if you do talk to Mrs. Gertie, you will be emotionally drained for at least a day afterward. She will have you excused from classes the next day and will bring your meals and classwork to you here in the room. All day, she will check on you and make sure you are processing those feelings properly. Prudence reassured me. It's really nice here, better than foster homes. You know exactly what you're going to be fed and exactly when to, you know exactly when you are going to be fed and exactly when to go to bed. This is my third home, and I never want to leave. I'm studying to be a teacher here, so when I age out of the system, I get to stay, Shirley told me from Prudence bed. I don't want to stay any longer than I have to. I want a family with a mommy and daddy, Joyce said, flipping her hair. I don't care either way. My real mommy took me to a hotel and left me there. Then the first foster home I went to, the lady beat me. I have to see the doctor tomorrow to make sure my cuts are healing. I don't know if I really want a mommy, I told them. What about your daddy? Jane asked. I don't know him, I informed. I will make sure you feel safe while you are here. Each one of us is here for a reason, and we each stay here for a different lengths of time. Those of us who are about to age out of the system usually come here because none of the foster homes want a kid older than 13, and we will be here until we find a job and are able to live on our own. The younger kids are here for one of two reasons. Number one, to get acclimated to the foster care system, or number two, because you were abused at your last foster home. Prudence informed. Well, I'm both of those, I said. Why both? Eliza asked. My mommy left me in a hotel on Saturday. That night, I was able to stay with police officer who picked me up. On Sunday, I went to stay with a lady named Betty Warren. Monday night and all of Tuesday and Tuesday night, I was in the hospital. And now here I am, I said, laying out my week for them. Oh my goodness. It's only Wednesday. You're telling us this just happened to you? Shirley asked. Yep, was all I said. Well, let's get you unpacked and I'll show you around the facility, Prudence told me. Which drawer can I use? I don't want to get in trouble for using the wrong drawer, I said. Don't worry, sweetie. Each one of us is assigned a drawer. Your name is actually on the drawer there, so no confusion. But if you were to accidentally put your clothes in a different drawer or take out someone else's clothes, you're not going to get in trouble, Prudence told me, putting her and stood up, walked. It could be a closet. I opened the drawer, name, then walked over and retrieved my bag. Clothes out of the bag. Rachel came over to help me. This here is our bathroom. It only has a toilet and a sink for us during the night. Otherwise, there is a communal bathroom with showers down the hall. I will take you there once you have put your clothes away, Prudence said, referring to the door as though the door I thought was a closet, as if she could read my mind. Once Rachel and I had finished putting away my clothes, Rachel folded my bag flat, then slid it under my bed. Prudence opened the door to the bathroom, and I peeked in just to satisfy her. I had seen plenty of bathrooms before, but since she opened the door to show me, I looked. Okay, let's go around and I will show you the facility. Girls, go ahead and get ready to go down for dinner. You have about an hour before you have to be down in the dining hall. I will meet y'all down there when I am done showing Mackenzie around. Prudence directed the other girls. May I go with you? Rachel asked Prudence. Is there anything you need to do before dinner? Prudence asked her. No, ma'am, I promise, Rachel reassured her. Okay, Mackenzie, are you okay with that? Prudence asked me. Yeah, that's okay, I told her. All right, then, let's go, Prudence said, leading Rachel and me out of the room. Once we were out in the hallway, Rachel grabbed my hand as we walked in the opposite direction from the stairs. Ugh, my nose is itchy. Whew. I got chapter 15. So 15, 16, and 17, there's only three more chapters left. After a month had passed, After a month had passed since I had arrived at the facility, the school year started. My wounds had almost completely healed, and I was moving normal again. Every day was scheduled like clockwork. You're panicking for her? I know, right? Awesome. See, I love that. I love the fact that y'all like it. I love the fact that y'all like it. Makes me feel good. Yeah. Every day was scheduled like clockwork. Everyone was required to get up by 6 in the morning and be ready for breakfast by 7. Either they were going to be mean girls. The classes we took during the day were basic. I really liked the fact that we were placed in a class based on our learning ability and not by age. Miss Gertie said it was so we wouldn't get bored, and if we ended up needing help in our classes, there was always an older student there to help. All of the kids 15 and older were taught in a different building out on the facility property. The classrooms were on the first floor and they were behind each common area room. One side was for the girls and the other side was for the boys. Each room had a number on the door that would be associated with the number on the schedule that was given to each student. The time in which each child was scheduled to have each specific class determined their learning level for that subject. Classes started at 8:30, then lunch at 1. The facility was focused on 8 major subjects: English, reading, writing, math, geography, science, history, and a foreign language. The last class of the day was an extracurricular activity that each student was able to choose from on a list. Each activity was physical in order for each of us to get in our daily exercise. The list included a running club, dance class, gymnastics, and a full list of sports. I chose the dance class because that was the one Rachel and Prudence chose. Rachel had become my best friend at the facility, and we did everything together. All the girls in my room would go for a run each morning before breakfast, and Rachel convinced me to go with them. All of us in the room were like a little family. We all followed Prudence's rules and took guidance from Shirley as if she was our big sister. When Christmas came around, Susan Riley asked each of us to think of what we wanted to do when we were grown up. Once we figured it out, we were to write a list of 3 items that we could use for that job. She said that one of those items would be gifted to us as our Christmas present. "What are you putting on your Christmas list?" Rachel asked me as we sat on the floor between our beds with a blanket draped over our heads. "I'm going to put a big notebook, a small notebook, and a fancy pen. I want to be a writer," I told her. "What about you?" "I want to be a nurse. So I'm going to ask for a first aid kit, a stethoscope, and a baby doll," she told me. "What's a stethoscope?" I wondered. "It's the thingy you put in your ears and listen to heartbeat," Rachel explained. "Oh, yeah. The doctor used one of those on me when I was in the hospital," I told her. "You know it's called a stethoscope, right?" Prudence said, peeking her head into our hiding spot. "That's what she said. A stethoscope," I told her. "Okay, girls, finish up with your lists. I need to take them to Mrs. Riley," Prudence announced to everyone in the room. After the holidays, classes resumed as normal. As my seventh birthday approached, I became more and more excited. I had seen some of the birthday parties for the other kids at the facility, and Mrs. Riley and Miss Gertie always made the birthday kid feel special for the entire week of their birthday. During the entire 8 months I spent at the facility, I had recovered from my physical and emotional wounds, and I was having a lot of fun. Officer Lee came to see me once a week, and we talked about how I was coping with life without my mother and Auntie May. "I like it here," I told Officer Lee. "Miss Janet Russell has found you a new home," Lee told me. "I don't want to leave. I want to stay here," I requested. "I'm sorry, sweetie, but this was only temporary. The Department of Social Services is the only one who has a say of where you go." "When do I have to go?" "A couple of days after your birthday." "That's next week. This is no fair," I whined. "You get to spend your 7th birthday here, then you will start a new adventure in life," Lee said, as if that would make me feel better. "I guess," I said. For the last week at the facility, the 7 girls in my room, along with Miss Gertie, created a celebration for every day just for me. Each celebration led up to my birthday. Mrs. Gertie worked it out with Susan Riley that all the girls in my room and I got out of classes for the week of my birthday so we could go on field trips every day. Monday was the zoo, Tuesday was the aquarium, Wednesday we all went to see a movie, Thursday we went skating, and Friday we went bowling. For the weekend, Mrs. Riley had rented several bouncy castles and had them delivered to the facility so all the kids could have fun. There was a special cake for me, a piñata, and several games for us to play. It was the best week of my life. When the day came for me to leave, Susan Riley and Miss Gertie both gave me a gift that they give to each child who leaves. The gift I received from Susan Riley was a letter telling me how I had grown since I had arrived at the facility, along with a pen with the facility name on it. The gift from Miss Gertie was a pink shirt with the words, I survived my time at a foster care facility. We are going to miss you, Mackenzie, Susan Riley told me as she hugged me. You have really grown a lot since you have been here, and I hope you continue to grow. Take care of yourself. Keep your strong sense of self and don't let anyone take advantage of you. You have really developed your own personality and you are a great person, Miss Gertie told me, embracing me in a hug with tears rolling down her cheeks. Watch out for the damaged kids wherever you go, Joyce said, rolling her eyes at me. Joyce and I never saw eye to eye the whole time. I was at the facility the whole time I was at the facility, but she didn't really get along with anyone. She was a bitter young lady who had a rough life and in the short time she had been alive. There were speculations as to what happened to her, but only Mrs. Riley and Miss Gertie really knew why she was there. We're going to miss you, Mackenzie, Eliza said, patting my shoulder. Of course, we won't miss the crazy blanket fort you and Rachel put up between your beds, she laughed. When Eliza was 2, her parents decided they were going on a cruise for their anniversary. She was left with a babysitter who was a college student on break. The babysitter knew it was a 7-day cruise and it would take Eliza's parents another couple of days after the cruise before they would make it home. The babysitter figured it would be about 10 days, and she was okay with that. After a full month and Eliza's parents still hadn't returned, the babysitter drove her to the facility and dropped her off. Eliza still hopes one day that her parents will show up to get her. Diane and Jane had been adopted out shortly after the beginning of the new year, and their beds had been empty for the past 4 months. Rachel was my best friend at the facility, and I told her everything. I didn't know if this day was ever going to come, and I wasn't prepared to say goodbye. You are the first person I was able to open up to. I'm really going to miss you, Rachel said as she wrapped her arms around me and cried. I just held on to her and cried with her. Rachel lived with her parents up until she was 4. Her parents immigrated to the United States just before she was born. Her parents were trying to get away from their war-torn country. They wa- they wanted a safe place to raise their children. She was 4. Her parents put her to bed, then went out to the living room to watch a little television before they went to bed. As they were heading to their room, someone kicked in their front door and murdered her parents. She hid under her bed just in case the killer came for her. She was in the house with her dead parents for a couple of days before a neighbor noticed that they hadn't seen her parents in a while. The neighbor came over and saw the door open and could hear Rachel crying. After that, Rachel was sent to the facility and had been there ever since. She felt safe in the group facility because there were a ton of people around. Anytime they talked to her about a family wanting to adopt her, she would have a panic attack as if she was reliving the moment she found her parents dead in the living room and she was alone for 2 days. Rachel was one of the youngest permanent residents at the foster care facility, and they didn't know if she was ever going to leave. She only felt comfortable around a group of people, and anytime she went to her therapy sessions, Prudence, Shirley, Miss Gertie, and Miss Riley had to be in the room with her and her therapist in order to keep her calm. Don't worry, kid. We will take good care of Rachel. The card that Miss Riley gave you has the address to the facility on it. Write to us whenever you get to your new home, and you can tell us all about it. We will write back, and Rachel, you can keep in touch. Maybe one day y'all will meet again, Prudence told me as Rachel and I held on to each other and cried. Prudence doesn't remember how old she was when she was placed in the foster care system, but she had been to several group homes since being placed. The first few homes she was placed in were temporary housing where she would be physically and emotionally abused. Due to the abuse, when she would have a family interested in adopting her, they would call her social worker after a few to pick her up after a few months before the adoption was finalized. They would only inform her social worker that she was not a fit for their families. Prudence didn't tell anyone what she did in order to get kicked out of her potential adoptive homes, but it was enough for her to end up at the foster care facility until she aged out of the system. Don't hog her. We still have to tell her goodbye too, Rachel. Shirley said, tapping Rachel on her shoulder. Fine, Rachel said, pulling away from me and wiping my face with her hands. Don't worry, kid. You'll be fine. Just don't take shit from anyone, Prudence whispered in my ear as she hugged me. We're going to miss you around here. I never understood your sign language. I knew it meant you didn't want to talk, Shirley told me when it was her turn. Shirley was a great big sister. Sometimes she had a sassy attitude with Prudence when she was told what to do, but she was generally helpful. She would only talk to Miss Gertie about anything personal, so I wasn't sure why she was here or why she was there. Officer Lee stood in front of the doors, holding my packed bag, waiting for me to finish my farewells. The other children that lived in the facility to which I had come into contact with, but never really communicated with, just waved as I turned to leave with Officer Lee. It was just another group of kids I would never see again. I know. Oh, I know. That's how the foster care system is. You get comfortable one place and then it's like, oh, we found placement for you. They just bounce you around. That's how it works. Unfortunately, it's so awful. It's so awful. Oh, okay. Hold on. Ah, here we go. I gotta put all my settings back. I just remembered that. Ah. All right. Chapter 16. There's only two more. I know. So sad. There's only two more chapters for today, and it's 10 o'clock. Whew. All right. I was glad Officer Lee had come to pick me up and escort me, not looking forward to new home. I know, right? I was glad Officer Lee had come to pick me up and escort me to my third foster home instead of Janet Russell. I learned so much of the facility and how to take care of myself, and I wanted to tell Lee about it. I know this is hard on you, but eventually you will find a permanent home. If you have a family interested in adopting you, take hold of the opportunity and embrace the family life. I promise you will have a family again one day, Officer Lee said as she drove down the long, winding private road away from away from the foster care facility. It's okay. I to the girls in the room and I learned a lot about being in the foster care system, I told her. Oh yeah? What did you learn? Well, Prudence, my room mother, she taught me to never take shit from anyone. She told me that I was too sweet to be in the foster care system and that I was going to need to toughen up and use the attitude I had with Betty Warren to my advantage. She told me that some group homes can be rough and I need to protect myself from not only the foster parents, but also from some of the other kids. Sounds like Prudence has had a rough time adjusting to the foster care system. I don't know if that is the best advice. I think you should be, I think that you being a sweet kid is what's going to help you get adopted. But Prudence told me how some of the kids in the foster care system can end up on the streets or in jail, I explained. There are also those who go on to do great things. I think you're going to be one of the great ones, she told me. Family is overrated. If my own mother could just dump me, why would I want another one? But I will need to know how to survive the years I will possibly bounce around from foster home to foster home before I stop at a permanent home. I didn't feel like I had enough time to learn survival at the facility, but Prudence assured me I was ready. Tell me about my new home and the foster parents. Lee glanced at me as she began to tell me about where I would soon be living. Glenn and Ramona Cavos. They're busy executives who haven't had time to have their own children, so they temporarily house one foster child at a time. You could be spending a lot of time with their live in nanny that they keep on hand for their foster children. So that means I won't be spending any real time with them. That's cool. I've been spending a lot of time with other kids anyway. I told her as she pulled up to a house. The home seemed simple from the outside. Officer Lee rang the doorbell, and a woman who introduced herself as Mary opened the door. Hello, Mary. This is Mackenzie. She is the new foster child that will be living here, Lee told her. Please, come in. Miss Ramona and Mr. Glenn are working right now. Mackenzie will be able to meet them at dinner, Mary informed. Am I able to speak with them right now? Lee asked. I'm sorry, but they don't allow distractions when they are working. I will be showing Mackenzie to her room and get her settled in, Mary told her, taking my bag from Lee. Okay, sweetie, please be good. Both Janet Russell and I will be checking on you regularly to make sure you are doing okay, Lee told me as she hugged me to leave. Once Lee had left, Mary took me to the room I would be staying in. The house was filled with extravagant items. It seemed as though they spent their money on materialistic items for the inside of their home rather than purchasing a mansion. I stayed with Ramona and Glenn Cavos up to my eighth birthday. I barely ever saw them, and Mary was just for show when Officer Lee and Janet Russell visited. They were a busy couple who basically wanted a foster child in their home in order to feel as though they were contributing to charity. Officer Lee and Janet Russell stopped by separately about once a month to check on me. Ramona and Glenn Cavos would never allow me to be alone in the room with them during their visits. The couple would talk about how proud they were of themselves to be able to help a child in need. On my eighth birthday, when Officer Lee came to visit and give me my birthday present, uh, the couple left us alone. I finally had my chance to tell her how I felt about living there. I don't like it here. They don't like me being here. I tell Mrs. Russell she needs to find me a new Tell Mrs. Russell she needs to find me a new home, I told Officer Lee. They seem very happy to have you here, Lee said. They like the idea of having an orphan in their home. They tell people I'm a charity. They appreciate the paycheck they receive. Mackenzie, you don't know that. Every time the check comes in, they talk about what they can buy for themselves to make them look good. I'm used to be I'm I am used as their servant when they have dinner parties for their friends. I only get to eat what is left over after they eat or what is left over at a party. What happened with Mary? She's their assistant. Mary is mostly doing things for them. I've barely ever seen I have barely ever seen them, and every so often I would see Mary. Twice Mr. Cavos walked past me in the living room and I couldn't remember who he was. Have you had any family time with Glenn and Ramona? No, and I feel as though I'm old enough now to be able to navigate if I were to leave. Tell Mrs. Russell I will only be here for another week before I take this matter into my own hands, I explained. Please don't do that. I will call her as soon as I leave here and see what she can do for you, Lee told me. How are you doing in here? Ramona asked as she entered the room. We're fine, I responded, rolling my eyes. Can I get either of you something? Ramona said. No, ma'am, thank you, Officer Lee told her. Mackenzie, I've just ordered a cake to be delivered for your birthday, and it should be here soon. Officer, would you like to stay for cake? Ramona said, coming over to sit on the sofa next to me. No, thank you. I need to get back to my patrol. Janet Russell should be here tomorrow to check on Mackenzie, Lee told Ramona before turning to me. Happy birthday, sweet girl. I'll let you know what I find out. I hugged her before she left. Ramona waved through the open doorway before closing and deadbolting the door. She turned and looked down at me, pursing her lips. What did you tell her? Ramona asked, stepping closer to me. Nothing. We just talked about my birthday, and she said I have grown up a lot since we met. I told her, backing away. You better keep your mouth shut. If you mess with my paycheck, you will be sorry. Go to your room until I call you to serve us for dinner. I thought you said you ordered me a cake for my birthday. Please, I would never spend my money on you. I was glad the cop decided to leave because I didn't have an excuse as to why the cake hadn't shown up. I don't care about your birthday. It doesn't affect me in any way, Ramona said before turning and walking away. I went into the room I had been staying in and started packing my bag. I knew that when Officer Lee said Janet Russell would be visiting the next day, that meant I would be leaving. Even if she wasn't there to pick me up, I would cause a scene that would set off Mr. and Mrs. Cavos, so Janet would take me out of the home anyway. Luckily for me, when Janet Russell showed up the next day, she informed them that she was able to find a more permanent place. She was able to find me more permanent housing and I would be going with her. I ran to the room and snatched up my fully packed bag and ran straight to the front door to wait for her to talk to the couple. Please don't take our little girl. We have enjoyed having her here this past year, Ramona told Janet. We can find you another foster child to stay with you, Janet informed. How long do you think that will take? The last time it was almost 3 months before we got Mackenzie, Glenn asked. Contact my office tomorrow and I will let you know if there is a child who needs a home. Thank you for allowing Mackenzie to stay with you, Janet said as she ushered me out of the house. Finally, I don't know how much longer I would be able to live in there, I told Janet as we walked out to her car. What happened to that house? Janet asked once we were on the road headed toward my next house. Have you spoken to Officer Lee? I asked her. I did. She told me what you said yesterday. Oh, good. That means you're up to speed with the situation. 17. Can you please change your attitude about this? I understand you didn't choose your situation, but you could at least try fitting in with the family, Janet requested. Fine. So where are you going to take me today? I asked, rolling my eyes. You're going you are going to the home of Carolyn and Mitchell Donovan. They tend to only foster young children under the age of 6. They feel like younger children are easier to teach and mold into functioning members of society. When I informed them about your rough life so far, they decided to take you in. Have you investigated them to make sure I would be safe? I wanted to know. I did look into their foster care background. There haven't been any complaints about this couple, and they seem to be chosen to take care of foster children regularly, Janet explained. Of course, there haven't been any complaints. They're the only children they have in their house can't exactly communicate their feelings properly, I told her. All right, that's enough. Please be respectful to Mr. and Mrs. Donovan, Janet said. When we get there, I will find out how much respect they deserve, I stated, staring out the window. When we arrived at the Donovan home, I knew it was going to be a challenge. First, the mobile home looked as though it hadn't been taken care of since it had been manufactured decades before. Second, the yard was overgrown and there was a path of fabricated slate leading up to their front steps through the yard. I couldn't help but wonder if I was going to be used to take care of things around the house, seeing as I was the oldest child in the home. I didn't let on to Janet that I felt as though this was not going to be a place I would stay for long. As we walked up the pathway toward the porch, the front door opened and a heavy woman with disheveled hair emerged holding a baby of about 6 months. She had a lit cigarette hanging out of her mouth and 5 more children gathered around her. You must be Mackenzie. I'm Carolyn, and my husband Mitch should be home from work soon. Come on in, and I'll show you to the room you will be staying in, the woman said with a thick southern accent. Janet and I stepped inside, and immediately the smell of cigarette smoke and urine hit me hard. All of the children looked as though they hadn't been bathed in months, and their clothes were dirty. I looked up at Janet, silently pleading with her not to leave me there. Try to fit in here. I don't know how many more homes I can find for you to live in until someone decides to adopt you. Janet leaned down and whispered in my ear, Are you going to be living here with us?" One of the dirty children asked. Now, Joshy, don't bother her just yet. We'll all sit down and talk to her once the lady leaves, Carolyn told the children. Okay, well, I guess I will leave you to get acquainted. Mackenzie, Lee will be stopping by at the end of the week and see how you are getting along. Please don't cause any trouble or tell her any lies, Janet told me before she left. Okay, well, you're going to be staying in the room with the baby and the 2 youngins. This one here is Brittany. She's a little hard to handle at night, but you'll do fine. Brittany is 6 months old and still won't sleep through the night, Carolyn told me, passing the baby to me. She smelled as though she needed a diaper change several hours ago and a bath. Her clothes were dingy, and she was drooling more than I thought a baby should, but I wasn't sure. Starting from the oldest, you got Joshy, he's 6. Then here's Ashley, she's 5. Then Nikki, he's 4. He don't talk much, but when he's got something to say, he just won't shut up. Next is Heather, she's 3, and last is Davy. He's 2. If he grunts when he's asking for something, you make him say it. We need to learn how to use our words round here. Carolyn introduced the children to me, then walked over to the sofa, grabbed another cigarette out of the pack sitting on the table, and lit it with the butt end of the one that had been in her mouth. I stood there holding the baby and looking down at the other 5 children. They had circled around me and seemed to be waiting for me to tell them what to do. Y'all want to show me the room I'm going to be sleeping in? I said to the kids. Joshy grabbed my bag and dragged it down the hallway to the first bedroom on the right. The next door down the hall was the bathroom, and the room at the end of the hall belonged to the 3 oldest children. All 7 of us entered the room, and I looked around. There was a crib and a dirty king sized mattress in the room. There weren't any sheets on the mattress, but there were several blankets and pillows. The mattress at the bottom of the crib was stained with urine and feces, and a blanket was balled up in one corner. I retrieved a diaper from a box under the crib and a package of wipes. I had never changed a diaper before, but I was going to teach myself in order to take care of these kids. Luckily, Brittany was the only one in diapers, so I didn't have to worry about the toddlers. I laid Brittany down on the mattress and removed the dirty clothes she was wearing. I looked at the soggy diaper and decided that the only way I could learn was to just do it. I removed the dirty diaper and pulled out a wipe and started to clean her up. Every part of her body that was covered by that diaper was red and irritated. She cried as I did my best to clean off the dried feces from her bottom. Shut that baby up. I'm trying to watch my stories, Carolyn yelled from the living room. Once I had cleaned her up, I replaced her diaper with a clean one, then picked her up and embraced her in my arms, apologizing to her. Once she had calmed down, I set her back on the mattress where the other children sat. When Mitchell Donovan arrived home that first evening, he informed me that I was to feed the children and get them to bed. Then I was to make them dinner. Once the 2 of them were done eating, then and only then was I allowed to make myself something to eat. Wonderful, I thought. I'm back to taking care of myself and serving others. Except this time, I have to take care of someone else's children. I was in charge of taking care of the children for the year that I lived in the Donovan home. I was worried about getting all of the children out of the deplorable conditions in that house. But I knew Janet didn't care about the conditions we were living in, so I just left it alone. That way, I would know the children were being taken care of. Considering the fact that I cleaned the house and the children, they started calling me mommy. Every time Lee came to visit, I was only allowed to visit with her outside. Carolyn would tell me to take the kids out to play and not come back inside until Officer Lee was gone. When Christmas came around, I understood why there weren't any toys in the house. There weren't any presents for any of us. The Donovans didn't even decorate for the holidays. Every day was the same, no matter what the date was. The young kids revolved the young kids revolved through the house as they were removed for adoption. By the time I was by the time I left, the kids that were there were not the same kids I had been introduced to when I first arrived. Carolyn chain smoked in the house and mostly watched television. I had finally had enough when they agreed to take on a physically handicapped 6-year old that was unable to communicate and would need around the clock care. She was in a wheelchair and had the mind of a toddler. She would need to be fed, bathed, and have her diaper changed. By that time, I was 9 years old, and I did not want to change the diaper of a child that was large enough to injure me. I finally revealed to Officer Lee as to the conditions of the house and what was going on. The day that the disabled child was supposed to be dropped off, Lee showed up with Janet and a social services van. We were all going to be removed from the home. Janet Russell took the other children in the van, and Lee drove me to my fifth foster home. Yeah, the accents. Yeah, the accents. Come on now. Oh, I know. Like, and that's one of the issues with the foster care system, too. Not enough of them actually give a shit. Some of them will just drop them off. Like, "Mm, it's a home. It's a home." That's probably one of the worst things is when you know that a child has opened or the door is opened and there's a woman. Yeah, exactly. There's a woman standing on the other side holding a 6-month-old baby and a cigarette hanging out of her mouth, and the social services worker thinks, yeah, this is a good idea. There you go. Because that's perfect. That's wonderful. Yeah. Ah, well, that's Wednesday. So the rest of that'll be tomorrow. So tomorrow we are reading chapters 18 to through the end. And we haven't even gotten to the guy that gives me the heebie jeebies. Just wait. Ooh, 25. Okay, so there's 25 chapters. So 18 to 25. Oh, oh yeah. I love it. I love it. Speaking of which, so my cult series. Damn, that's too far. I don't want to go that far. I have a book about cults. So I started reading this book about cults. So I know, right? I do have this one. So when I read this one last month, the videos of me doing it live here are all posted. So that one is posted. The first one, on the other hand, that one ended up being a whole other thing in January. I did or the first day was on Rainbow, and the last 2 days ended up being on Discord because of the service around here. So that one is not. But I do have. I'm doing it live. Oh yeah. I do have on my schedule that I will be doing audiobooks, starting with this one. I'm going to be reading this one. I need to get I need to get the perfect place to be able to record audiobooks and stuff like that. Oh yeah. I need to do the perfect place to be able to record audiobooks so I can get that perfect and not only post them here, but also, I don't know, I need to do files, like a actual audiobook file, and post it somewhere else because I know that I should probably be compensated for that. Hell yeah. I do that too. Ooh, you know what? Here, let me do this. I'm gonna do this right now. Um, I think that one's the first one, second one, and third one. Save to a playlist. And then this one. And this one. There we go. So now Family Affair is saved to a playlist. So now you can just click it and go. You make sure it is in order. That is my biggest thing. Let me make sure it's in order. Oh, come on. Let me go back. Read it. Our videos, playlist. Seriously? There it is. Okay, updated today. Let's check this playlist. Um, oh, wait, hold on. No, don't start. Thank you. Um, this one needs to move. There we go. First, 1 through 8, 9 through 16, and then 17 through 25. There you go. And now it's in order. And all you have to do is hit play all, and yep, there we go. Yay. Okay. Anyway. Hey, I can do YouTube. I've been doing YouTube since 2019. So I have been able to figure all that out. I got a lot of that. The only thing I didn't know how to do was go live, and now I know how to do that. If you asked me to create a playlist on TikTok, you've lost your fucking mind. You lost your mind. I don't know how to do that. I don't even know how sometimes when what you call it, when things happen in the drafts, I didn't even know where to find those at one time. I was like, where the hell did my drafts go? I didn't even know where they were. I don't have any now, but I did before. So anyway, yeah, I know how to use YouTube. So we're good on that end. Ugh. So who's excited for tomorrow? I know I am. Hee hee. Oh yeah. Oh, you know what? Oh, the other ones aren't posted yet, so it's fine. Hell yeah. You are and you're not. You're probably not because that would mean that the book's going to be over. And then you have to wait until April before I read this one. But I already have this one marked out. And then I'm thinking about August because you have to wait until tomorrow. In August, I might read this one. So there's that. I'm kind of excited about that one. And if I get that one read in August, ooh, that'll be exciting. And I keep finding Aria's been tearing up paper and I keep finding it on my clothes everywhere I go. I haven't, oh, it's not that. I haven't decided yet, but I'm thinking it's going to be sometime in August anyway. So there's that. But I do have, because I slowed down a lot of my, because it'll be over. See, Christy Jorgensen says because it'll be over. And I've slowed down a lot of my writing, editing, blah, 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 so that I can go ahead and do the audiobooks. Because if Limes asks one more damn time, I'm just kidding. Let's see. So I've got Fundamental Affair. Fruitful Affair is next. Oh, yeah, I got that one. I forgot. I have another book. Yeah, I know. And then book 4. Everyone's excited for book 4. Oh, I know. I know he has. I just have so much shit going on because I've been trying to get all of these books done. Look, I've got these 2 in edits. Plus, I've got another one I have to print out. I've got these that are going to have to be edited. Plus, I've got 4 more that Oh, I'm sorry. I've got one more that needs to be printed and three more that need to be written. So that, oh, I know, right? That's what toilets are for. Camaro. So, anyway, so because I am trying to get that done for him too, and I know that I've had other people now, like people will ask about ebooks. Okay, I know I can do ebooks, but that shit scares me because of pirates. I can do audiobooks. I'm okay with that. I got to figure out the audio files and the best way to actually do that if I want to just sell the audio file or if I want to upload it here and create something different. But I can do like the audio files on Patreon and have it like post it so that you know what I mean. Anyway, and they can also purchase it from Patreon. So I have books that I'll be editing and writing and things like that. And I've got edits. So all I'm doing is editing a lot of these. I think that's what I ended up intending to do. Yep. Oh, yeah. That's not until July. Okay, cool. Yep. And then, yeah. And then I'll be doing, yeah. Okay. I'm good. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Nobody came. Nobody came because it was awful. So, anywho, but we are getting that taken care of as well. Hopefully, something's going to happen. What you call it? Yeah, it's yeah. So hopefully at some point we'll get something about this so that I can have my space. Damn, that rain. So anyhow, the end of the month. Yep. Contracts up at the end of the month. And then we're looking to see if we can't get another realtor. I could never remember what my oh, I know. I could never remember what my password was for MySpace. Have no idea. But I would also assume that because whenever I Google my name, not like my name, but my author name, MySpace no longer pops up. So there's that. But whenever I Google my author name, the CL Conolly, a lot of shit comes up because I've got YouTube, TikTok. There's several other things too. Like my mom was trying to figure out, she goes, "What's Medium?" She goes, "You're not a medium." And I said, "No, that was a blog." And she goes, "You had a blog?" And I said, "No, I just went through all of these different apps and stuff whenever new ones popped up. And I immediately got an account because I didn't want someone to steal my name on the account. Like freaking Twitter X, whatever, blah, blah, blah." Yeah. I got that account specifically because of the fact that I was like, no, you have to publish. No, I know. Medium was a place for writers and it was just a blog space. I told her, I said, "You do know that markers are considered as a medium, right?" She goes, "What?" Yeah, I had to explain that to her that it's basically a tool for art. That's just what a medium is. She's like, "I didn't know that." I forget that my parents don't really think about the dictionary. There's words I use, and my mother has said this. There are words that I use that my mom has had to ask me several times. She's like, "What does that mean?" Although she has told me at one time, she says, you don't have to use all the medical terms for things. And I said, "Oh, I don't." So then I looked it up and I figured out what the actual medical words were for the joint in your jaw and the bone. And that's in one of my and I did that on purpose So when you see the words mandibular joint, my mom goes, "You did that on purpose." And I go, "Yes, yes, I did." See? I did it on purpose. I can't even read that. Purpose. See, even Lemur knows what I'm talking about. The mandible. And I even talked about the buccal fat in your cheek and how it was removed from like that was the whole point. Like she took the scissors, stuck them in his mouth, and snipped right there. Perpius, even. That was the whole point in talking about the jaw and stuff. She just went, yep, and then cut it. I even described the sound it makes when she takes that cheek piece that she cuts off and slaps it down on the plastic on the floor. Yes. Oh, this got weird. They have sex on the floor next to the bleeding guy. Yeah. Y'all want to talk about how bad my books get as things go on and it progresses? Yes, they get very, very bad. My cult series is pretty gruesome. Oh, yeah. But it's awesome. Christy Jorgensen, I have a feeling she'd end up leaving during Killer Suburbia. Yeah, that's weird. I know. Yeah, exactly. Sounds like a Japanese legend. Mm. Oh yeah. It's gonna get weird. Killer Suburbia is pretty weird. It gets pretty bad. The first chapter, you'll be able to you'll be able to figure out whether or not you want to stay for the rest of it. I'm just gonna say that much, Christy Jurgensen. Like I said, my affair series and friendly misfortunes are the tame these are the tame books because this is what my mother had started with. I wanted to make sure to ease her into it. And she was like, "Yeah, this isn't that bad." And then I wrote this and she goes, "Oh my god." Um so yeah. My affair series is is tame. This is tame. Unfortunately, it does keep continue getting. Yeah, exactly. Now, she did say with this one though, with this book, she said that she had nightmares. And I was like, "Oh, good." But she's gotten so used to it now, it's not that bad. You like tame? Mm. Christy Jorgensen. Yeah, that's Lemur. Oh yeah, Camara wasn't here yesterday. Yeah, she's got to know. Like when she had said that when I was in first grade, I wrote a story that my teacher had called and told my mother, it says, "Is everything going okay at the house?" And my mom was like, "Yeah, why?" And she's like, She's aw, that's cute. um, but apparently had written a story about a queen who would cut off people's heads, right? And when my mother had explained that to me when I was a grown up, when my mother had explained it to me, I said, "Have you never thought about Alice in Wonderland? The Red Queen. She always says, 'Off with their heads.'" And she goes, "Oh my," she goes, "And you were in first grade." She goes, "That makes sense now." I mean, come on. Christy Jorgensen. Really? Aw. Search everywhere. What? What? Of the slit mouthed woman? Ooh. See, now I had thought about now, Carrie, I will say this much. So the Black Dahlia, she was found and they had cut her mouth into a smile. And that's kind of where I got the idea for that one. Oh yeah. But I am gonna have to look that up. The slit mouthed woman. Ooh, that sounds creepy. But yeah. The Black Dahlia was found. She had been bisected and somebody thought it was a mannequin because her body was in two halves, but then her face had been cut. She used to be an actress. I know. Hell yeah. Poor Aaliyah. Plane crashes were not good for the singers of the 90s because even Left Eye from TLC. But anyway. Ah! I just wanted it to be different. That's where you got the E. Wait, what? I know. I was like Left Eye. Yeah, it was sad. Aaliyah. I got an Aaliyah CD. I got but that was from before. Never get on a small plane. I know, right? But you know, they've got what's the basketball guy? Then there was the basketball guy that recently wasn't that LeBron James? LeBron James. Something like that. I don't know why I have to say his name like that. That comes from oh Kobe. Kobe. I don't know. I'm weird. Just ignore me. LeBron James. It was Kobe. It ruined helicopters for you too. Yeah, that's right. Kobe. Oh, hey, by the way, so the killer in my snake book, his name is Darian because it's funny. I'm just saying. I thought it was funny. That's Darian, the guy with the snakes, the venomous snakes. I was trying to come up with character names. This was from November or whatever. Yeah, that's where the character names came from. I know, right? He's gonna be, yes, I'm in a book. So anyway. Oh yeah, snakes too. Girl, come on. I got all kinds of stuff. Yes. He might actually start liking his first name. Yeah. If he's known as the snake killer. Christy Jorgensen. Yes. Rod's name is Darian. Yeah, it's Darian Rodriguez. Yep, yep, yep. But that's okay. I know, right? And she spelled it correctly. It's awesome. Oh, it is 10:48. I got one chapter left in my book, and then I'll be done with that one. Thank goodness. That's not the right one. This one is. He told you it was Rod. He tells everybody it's Rod. Ooh, I don't know if I've done that on YouTube yet. Hmm. And Camaro only calls him Darian when he says things, when he says certain things. He knew he was lying. Of course he was. Ah, it is almost 11 o'clock. I'm going to finish this book, go out there because I'm pretty sure Kira probably peed on the floor. I could hear her moving around. You were up until 4:30? Ah, I bet you are tired. Holy crap. I went to bed shortly after I got off the Discord. But anyway, I'm going to finish this book that I'm writing because I do have another one that needs to be written. That is true. Yes. Remember that. If Camaro is doing laughing faces, he's definitely messing with you. And he was live earlier today, so he may not be live later. But I also have to. Oh, shit, I never even finished last week. I have to write down what I got paid for last week because I just got paid today. Woohoo! I'm excited about that. Um, but yep, I gotta finish the book I'm writing. I gotta start another one. I got a bunch of shit I gotta do. Thank you guys for joining me. I love it, I love it. Tomorrow is the last. I know, right? Get it done. Tomorrow is the last of Fundamental Affair. Woohoo! I'll be reading the last few chapters. We'll get that one done. And then April is. Oop, April is Fruitful Affair. Oh, Miranda, I love your face too. So we'll get all that taken care of. Hopefully, the book makes it in tomorrow. Citizens Assassin makes it in tomorrow so that I can show everybody on live and then I can create a video for it on TikTok and show it off on Instagram and Facebook and all that other shit. But I'm going to do it here first because y'all are here. Y'all are listening to the books be read out. So, yes, yes. As soon as I get in inventory for it, yes. And Friday the 13th is when the book comes out. I'm so excited. Friday the 13th, my 13th book is published. I'm very excited about it. So I hope everyone has a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully, there's no rain tomorrow. Hopefully, there's no rain tomorrow because I should have better service tomorrow. My service right now is great. But anywho, all right, y'all. I will see you tomorrow. Hopefully, TikTok is better tomorrow. I need TikTok service better tomorrow. But